When a senior citizen sees his wife surrounded by gangsters on the street, he jumps into action and acts as a shield, protecting the love of his life from the unknown men. But what would he do when danger would come knocking at his door that very night? Before we continue, please take some time to subscribe to Dailydose, like and share this video with your friends. Henry had worked as a police officer for decades before retirement. He had dealt with many dangerous criminals, including some involved in unimaginably heinous crimes. After learning from his experience, he could tell which robber would turn into a dangerous criminal and which thief would change for the better. However, it had been years since Henry had last interacted with a criminal. After retiring from his position as a senior police officer, the 75-year-old man enjoyed spending time with his beloved wife, Martha. Henry and Martha were high school sweethearts. They had tied the knot more than 5 decades ago, and their bond grew stronger over the years. They had supported each other through thick and thin and were now enjoying the most peaceful time of their lives. The couple lived in a small house in a friendly neighborhood. Since Henry had been living in the same place for decades, he was on good terms with most of the neighbors. The kind older man always helped them when they were in trouble. Recently, Henry had received multiple reports from people who saw a group of gangsters roaming on the streets. They were 5 tall, muscular men who thrived on terrorizing the citizens. Henry had heard many neighbors complain that the same gangsters had stolen their money. The ex-police officer wanted to find out more about the group of gangsters, but he didn't get the chance until they tried to harm his wife. It was a regular day for Henry when he was sitting at his study table, reading the newspaper, when he heard a familiar voice arguing on the street outside his house. "Is that Martha?" he asked himself as his eyebrows came together, forming lines on his wrinkly forehead. When his suspicions became firm, he instantly rose to his feet and rushed towards the door. Upon twisting the doorknob and opening the door, Henry saw his wife surrounded by the same gangsters he had heard about. Worried for her safety, he paced toward the 5 men as fast as he could. "Get away from her," he yelled in a trembling voice. "Who are you?" "Go away," one of the muscular men shouted. "I'm her husband," Henry replied sternly, standing between the men and his wife, acting as a shield. "Oh, the oldie's husband is here to save her from us." Another man from the group laughed. "Go away. Get out of our neighborhood," Henry yelled. "You don't know who I am." "You will regret talking to us like that," the bulkiest gangster yelled before he left with the other 4 men. "Are you okay, Martha? Did they hurt you? Why did they stop you here?" Henry asked his wife, worried for her safety. "Oh, thank God you're here, honey," she said, tears trickling down her cheeks. "I was passing by when I saw them catcalling a young girl. I immediately stopped them, but they didn't like it and began yelling at me, saying all sorts of things. I'm glad you found me at the right time." "It's okay, Martha." Henry hugged his wife, rubbing her shoulders. "You don't need to pay attention to these people. I will make sure the police drive them out of this friendly neighborhood. They're a threat to everyone here." The older couple returned to their house and went on with their day. After midnight, they heard someone bang on their door, threatening to break it if no one answered. "Open up, you old man," an unknown voice echoed through the door. "Open the door right now." As Henry slowly left his bed, Martha held his arm, telling him not to go. "They're going to hurt you." "I know it's the gangsters," she said. Henry held his wife's hand, assuring her nothing would go wrong. "Don't worry, sweetheart. I won't fight with them. I just want to find out what they are up to. I want them to leave this neighborhood," he said. Upon opening the door, Henry saw a tall, muscular man dressed in black standing on the doorstep. His piercing eyes hinted at the dark thoughts in his mind, how he wanted to hurt Henry because he had stopped the gangsters from doing what they wanted. "Who are you, and what do you want?" Henry demanded angrily. "I'm Rick, the leader of your neighborhood gang," the man replied sternly. "My men told me what you did this afternoon. Do you think you're a hero or what? They could have punched your face so hard." "I was just protecting my wife," Henry responded, his face red with anger. Then, Rick pushed Henry inside the house and closed the door behind him. "What do you think of yourself, huh?" The tall man leaned forward, trying to intimidate Henry. "I just want peace in my neighborhood," Rick, Henry replied calmly. Since he had worked with criminals for decades, Henry knew how to deal with men like Rick, who loved threatening innocent people. Instead of feeling scared, Henry remained confident and confronted the man. "We aren't leaving this neighborhood anytime soon," Rick said as his evil laugh echoed inside the elderly man's home. "Listen, Rick," Henry replied calmly. "You won't be able to take control of our lives. Not now, not ever. We aren't afraid of people like you. We're all good people in this neighborhood, people who know right from wrong and cruel from kind. If you were raised here, you'd know." Rick was quiet as he watched the older man speak. He wanted to respond, but Henry's way of talking had stunned him. He had never met someone so calm and collected. "You feel powerful in the darkness, don't you? You feel like the world owes you. Well, darkness doesn't scare me, and it'll only take me a cracking of my knuckles to show you your place. But listen, you look like you've got nothing to lose, like you've got nobody to question you and show you the light at home. Well, this is not a place for the likes of you. You may find some kindness out here, some forgiveness even, but no one here is going to give you their fear. So you better leave, boy, and take these kids with you." Rick took a step back instead of arguing with Henry or threatening to hurt him. Nobody had spoken to him that way before. Nobody had made him feel alone and understood at the same time. It made him think about what he was doing with his life. In the flickering light of the street lamp, the old man even reminded Rick of his own father who died a criminal. A few days later, the residents realized Rick and his gang had left the neighborhood. No one knew where they went, but they were never seen there again.